where he is at a total dead stop and then he's got to kind of start up. I just think they need to do more to get him the ball. And ironically, with his gifts, he almost seems like a 240-pound scat back that you want to get the ball outside and let him do that. Let's go over some of the stats real quick. Illinois with 339 yards to 238 for Purdue. Illinois with 267 in terms of passing yards to 158. Rushing yards, Illinois has a little bit of a deficit there, 72 versus 80. Penalties, there were some key ones on both sides, 2 for 21 for Illinois, 4 for 36 for Purdue. Illinois 15 first downs, Purdue 12. That obviously is that's a lot of productivity for a half. 31 plays for Illinois, 36 for Purdue. Illinois is averaging over 10 yards a play and over 20 yards a completion. You're looking at this, and I guess as I look at it, Illinois' time of possession 1637, and Illinois has 1 sack. Seems like, and Jonathan Kerr sent me a text, and he basically is talking about how Illinois does better. They can create angle down blocks, which create movement. And to me, that attacking the outside, and maybe, I know this is going to sound insane, but maybe the Illini are a little bit like the 80s 49ers, that they use the pass to set up the run. And I know that Brett Bielema, that's not exactly how he likes to live. But if you get the results, that's good. I want to ask you guys the question, though. Should we be concerned about this defense? Now, I know it's only 14 points, but you got Ohio State coming down the pike next week.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, you mentioned the defense, and, we have a group text. One of my concerns is for the whole season, this is not just one game. They have to find a way to get off the field on 3rd and long. That has been a crutch all season. I know they played more zone this year. You can see in the comments, I don't know how many text messages you guys have seen, but I've got tons of messages on that corner blitz, that we just gave up. If it was a missed assignment, if that was designed, I don't know that. I wish I was at the game today, because that would be one question I would love to ask. It was a bad play. I mean, and if you guys remember, too, in the first game of the season against Western Illinois, that happened. And I told you, they fall asleep, the back end at times. I know that a lot of people are frustrated with the defense because you do want them to get off, and I do too. And, they do create turnovers, but you have to get stops. And I think teams have figured out a way of what Illinois is trying to do defensively on 3rd down, because they don't get off the field.
Yeah. Thoughts on that, Steve?
So, yeah, that has been a problem, clearly. I'm not as worried about it. I mean, it was a breakdown. Miles Scott, clearly, I mean, the TV broadcasters were probably right that it was Miles Scott that was supposed to carry that man deep. Obviously we're never going to know what exactly the plan was. It looked to me like there was no other person who could possibly have had deep responsibility there but Miles Scott. And obviously you don't like to see that from a senior. And I will say also, I'll bet that it had something to do with him already getting his celebration plans in line, because, we were up 27-7, meaning he probably let up mentally a little bit. You don't like to see that from a senior. In general, I think our defense has been just fine today. I said early on, Purdue was able to just walk up and down the field using the perimeter. We've shut that down. And aside from the one breakdown, which, obviously I hope that's an isolated incident. If it's not, then we got a whole different set of problems anyway. But either way, aside from that breakdown, I'm pretty happy with where the defense is right now. I would like to see us be a little bit more varied on the offense, just because I think we get a little predictable when we try to throw out, and then run out, and then just use the middle of the field as kind of middle field as the opening that's created by, our outside. I'd like to have something steady we can do in the middle of the field offensively, either run or pass, and it doesn't seem like we do.
Yeah, it's a little frustrating, although they have had some nice patterns to Mr. Beatty, I got to be honest. You're looking at a guy who's 4 catches, 137 yards, at one touchdown, and we're only at the half. So he's had an outstanding half, and I thought, it's been a really nice way of Altmaier spreading the ball out. He's already had catches by 7 different guys. And so to me, Beatty, Fagan, Dixon, Hollins, Kapka Jones, Bowick, and Arkin. So they really have spread the ball around. Valentine has run pretty well, which I thought was really important for both Valentine and Fagan to do well after suffering some, having those fumbles. We can debate on one of them, but certainly they're taking care of the ball. And, Ked, did any surprises here? We haven't seen a certain tailback out there at all. And I don't know if there's more injury issues going on or what the issue there is. But any thoughts, on the offensive, how things are going, Ked?
Well, I think the running back situation, they just feel more comfortable with Valentine and Fagan, which that's understandable. I will tell you this, and this is me being really nitpicking, but there's some truth to it. Hank Beatty has some really good numbers. But I'm going to tell you, the credit should go to Barry Leonard Jr. He is dialing up some unbelievable plays. I would catch those balls if they were throwing. There's nobody within 10 yards of him. And so it doesn't matter if it's him, Colin Dixon, or whoever, or whether it's a tight end. The play calling is amazing. And I'm telling the fans, I know the fans are mad at the defense. You should be more concerned about trying to keep Barry Leonard next year. That guy is a master at dissecting the offense. I remember when Illinois got him because he was from East Tennessee or East Texas, some university. I forget what school it was. When Illinois played them, he just lit Illinois up. And I knew he was good. Yes, he was a good offensive coordinator. So having said that, I think the offense. I'm not worried about the offense. And what's really funny, you guys, this game's not over. You have 30 minutes left of football. But there are a lot of Ohio State fans right now that are on social media concerned because they know this offense can score at will. I'm literally watching these tweets come across because Illinois is going to score. And I think Ohio State is great. And I've said it before. I don't think they're as good as last year. I just think Illinois, if they could somehow get off the field on third down, I would feel much better and more comfortable about this team regardless of who they play. I just think they give up too many plays when they're sleeping and not getting off the field. For me, that's my only concern with this team.
Yeah, I don't know that it's Barry Lunny or just Purdue's inexperienced secondary. Obviously, I do believe Barry Lunny is a quality offensive coordinator, but I also think that you got a whole lot of guys out there who don't seem to know how to play zone defense. They're trying to play zone. Like they started in man. We could all see they were playing man on the one where the two defenders ran into each other. But I see a whole lot of defensive backs standing out there as if they're like X's on a chalkboard and they don't move. They just keep staying right there. And when you show the defense where you're going to be standing, all you have to do is go stand in the spots where they aren't. And then you're wide open. I mean, that seems a little simplistic, but I've seen it happen plenty of times too. Inexperienced guys that you tell them to go play zone and you're supposed to be over there and this is your responsibility. And then they just stand there while they watch the guy stand, be a little bit catty corner to him and catch the ball wide open.
That's something you learn when you play defense as a younger player is you stand somewhere and you're like, yeah, I've got nobody's going to catch a pass here. And then your coach is like, there is nobody there.
Yeah.
And you're like, you feel so good about it. Then you look at the film and you're like, well, I guess I wasn't really doing much. And of course you see the same in basketball as well. Sometimes people have to figure that out. I will tell you, Illini fans who are frustrated, we would obviously like to see Illinois up by another touchdown and maybe Purdue have one less score. But as you look around the country, I mean, Iowa State is being shocked by Cincinnati right now, down 31-7 at the half. And even Michigan at the half, now I'm not saying it's going to end up this way, but they're heavily favored over Wisconsin, and they're only up 10-7 at the half. Mm-hmm. So Illini fans, I think this is probably the key. and I'm an old Illini fan. People can see the white and the hair there. Been going to games since the 0-0 tie with Gary Moeller. But I will tell you that the thing about this is when Brett Bielema's coaching, we had obviously the Indiana debacle, but I think that's a one-off. But here we are complaining that we're a little disappointed by the Illini. They've almost got 28 points at the half, and they're up by 13. So this is a lot different than what we had maybe before Brett Bielema when, we're disappointed in Illinois and they're down 27-3 at the half. So it's a little bit different. The other thing I wanted to bring up, which is really sneaky, but Luke Altmaier's 13 for 14, back there. I will say one thing though, as you guys know, and Ked knows exactly what I'm going to say. Luke, he's taken 2 big hits this half, and I don't want to see that at all. But he has played spectacular, other than letting Purdue have a couple good shots at him. Ked, any thoughts over there on that? Luke Altmaier and what he's doing?
Well, as much as, I've said, the lack of opening up the holes up the middle, I think Steve is right. The linebackers are playing that, especially when Ken Fagan's in the game. I think the offensive line has done a really good job of protecting him. He hasn't been hit nearly as much since the Indiana game. So I think they made some strides there. I have to give them credit. He's not going to go through a whole game and not get hit or get sacked for the rest of the season. He's going to get hit again. So they made some adjustments there. I just, to me, I'm a big Kane Fagan fan, and I think he's a little bit faster than what people realize. You saw on that pass on that out route last week against USC.
His straight line speed is fine. I mean, it is really good.
He can't shift right away, left to right, but I would like to see him utilize more because I'm looking at the stats right now, and you would think he'd have more than 7 yards, and that's all he has. So that has to change. And I don't remember which one of you guys mentioned the fact that, you have to throw the pass. Illinois has to make the pass, make the run. I'm okay with that. I just want to see him be much more effective. I think he's too talented and too big of a player, personally, to not average 100 yards a game. I think he's good enough and big enough to do that. I just don't know if the scheme's not right or maybe he's missing and not reading the holes, the gaps. I don't know, but I think he's too talented to only have 7 yards in the first half.
Oh, well, I wasn't sure if you wanted me to talk about
Go
that.
ahead.
As far as Altmaier, the question you asked, I'm just fine with him doing the designed runs as long as you are very careful about when you're calling them. Obviously, when he had the kind of drop snap and then had to kind of dive forward into the teeth of defense there, that's just a good senior leader. Obviously, you don't really want to see that either, but, taking a hit on a 1 yard gain like that, don't really want to see that. As for Caden Fagan, I mean, I'm with you, Ked. Like, he's clearly one of the more talented players in the Big Ten, but it's the usage. It's the usage in the play calling, and he can't do the things that you expect from a big guy. He's not Ron Dane. He's not as explosive like in the short gain, although, when you have a guy who can reach 20 miles an hour, which he did against USC last week, as he's going down the sideline, you want to be able to use that. I personally, and I've been saying this since we recruited him first, I'd almost kind of like to see him be a tight end sometimes, or line him up as an H-back, use him as receiver, because then you can control that he's going to be down the field with a head of steam 20 yards down the field, and he's going to be awfully hard to cover, and he has good hands.
Yes.
But, that's kind of fanciful. It's not going to happen. We all know that. Maybe at the next level. But,
yeah, I was going to say that might be the choice of an NFL coach.
Yeah.
The kind of plays you don't see anymore, out of the I formation.
Right.
Particularly, we used to run a whole bunch of them where the quarterback, we called them just quick pitch, where you pivoted out and you got the ball, with a pitch out to the tailback, and man, you could get around the corner like that. And I know today's linebackers are so much faster than in the past that you can't run those things. But I would love to see, a little bit more, stuff like that. Maybe go to the past and see that. And Steve, you actually, kind of texted me with what my next point was. is how many times if I would have told you that Illinois was going to score 27 points in the first half and be scoreless at the end of the first quarter, would you have taken that bet?
I mean, that's about the defensive breakdowns. I mean, we're not really an explosive team that's going to be putting up 27 and a quarter normally. But, when the defense just kind of forgets to cover you and or runs into each other, that makes that a little bit easier. I mean, obviously, a defensive score would change that too. And as far we've talked about Caden Fagan and the old-time tailback, yeah, it might work. You'd need an old-time fullback in front of him too, though. That's the difference. And there's not even a player on the roster right now who can do that for Illinois. There just frankly aren't that many even in college football. It's just kind of a bygone position, just like blacksmith. It just doesn't happen anymore.
Now, one reminder to everybody: we will be coming to you live after the game, and we will be on the STL Sports Central YouTube. You can get us there. Of course, we'll also have our X accounts opened up for you as well. But after the game, tune in. We'll be doing our Eye on the Illini Live / Illini Central for our friends at STL Sports Central. We can kind of get some other fans exposed to Illinois football and see what we can do. And, of course, any thoughts, Ked, on real quick here before we go? You got any idea how this game's going to end up score-wise?
I think Purdue's going to score more points. I predicted them to put up 31 points to begin with. I want to see Illinois act like a winning top program in the country. Come out, score in the first half, and bury them. You want some style points. They've had style. Indiana got style points against them when they put up 63, whatever. They need to try to put up. I know Brett Bielema doesn't like to do that. They need to try to put up 50 points. If you can hold Purdue to 30, because I think they're going to score again. I mean, I think you're going to see a lot more quarterback runs from Purdue, and I think they keep the Illinois defense off balance. But I want to see them score and put the game away. Don't give them a chance to think that they can win, and you go down to the fourth quarter and you're trying to, figure out, strategies if you can win. Good teams will put them away, and they should do it right now. Illinois is clearly a better team.
Steve, any thoughts here as we go into the second half?
It's kind of interesting. We're all feeling kind of cocky right now. I think we're feeling good about where Illinois is. We still are only up 27-13. Like a quick score by Purdue changes the entire tenor of this game. Having said that, Illinois comes out and scores a touchdown. I saw a few indications that the Purdue defense was kind of getting ready to lay down and quit at the end of the first half. And I think
exactly
if we
what
come out and
Jonathan
do that, then I think that we're going to have a nice little afternoon, which hopefully will allow our second string to play. And no, I'm not going to stop beating that drum because we need to get our second string on the field, get them some reps.
Yeah, Jonathan Kerr texted me the same thing. He thought that a quick score, and Illinois might be able to kick the fight at least out of the defensive side of the ball for Purdue. So they're just about ready to go to the second half kickoff. So, folks, thank you for coming with us to this, and we will be back after the game on the STL Sports Central YouTube, or you can find us on X. Thank you very much, and until next time, go Illini.